Any thoughts on what's next? There's a lot of companies trying to solve problem A, B, C, X, Y, Z. And it's almost kind of getting to the point where if you're just a convenience play, things are pretty convenient right now.
Yeah, right.
You know, how much more convenient are you, and is that buyer going to, or that consumer going to purchase your product versus something else? And is that interesting enough to a venture capital firm? So have you put any thought into, or what's kind of any insight that you can give us?
Yeah, lots of thought. And I think no better way to frame it is the acute shock that happened here with this pandemic. So we believe, like any technology and software that is going to accelerate digital transformation in a couple areas, are going to have tremendous focus in the next 5 years. Like, for instance, we're investors in retail technologies, e-com, in-store, et cetera. So I lead those efforts among other things on our team from a vertical SaaS standpoint. And we look at what's happened here to these businesses in this environment. But any technology that can accelerate the adoption of e-com, let's just say, really exciting. One I'll give you an example of, we're an investor in a company called TrueFit. TrueFit is a fit and attribute recommendation engine for consumers. You have a profile, it follows you everywhere where you engage with e-com. So it is helping ease the conversion of you on an e-com site for footwear, apparel, and other things. The interest in that is going through the roof right now, which is wonderful because you're a retailer, you know, your in-store profile is going to change. The elimination of changing rooms has been discussed broadly, and it is happening, not discussed, it is happening. And they're shrinking their footprint, turning some of those locations more into logistics plays, and the e-com site is becoming much more important. Just look at what's happening with Walmart.com, with Shopify, Facebook Shop, it's on. And so we look for technologies that can help accelerate digital transformation, retail tech being one of them. Another one is in the education space. And we're big believers here that the education process is really, really, really changing. And I don't know what it'll mean. Some people have looked out and said, what does it mean for a university, you know, down the road? Too far for me to kind of think about that. But in the near term, there's no question. Content has proliferated everywhere. The delivery mechanisms are important. They're all digital, oh, by the way. The training mechanisms, the networking mechanisms, all of that. So we're investors in a couple of companies. I mentioned the 2 Degreed and Bench Prep that are in that space, which were facilitating digital transformation. Healthcare is another great spot. We're not a healthcare investor. We have some healthcare bets, but I'm not a healthcare investor. We know where to play, where not to play. But telehealth would be a classic example of that. Yeah. We're also an investor in a online refractory eye. Here's a great example, right? An online refractory eye exam business called Visibly. And just think about that, the ability to renew your contact lens prescription, your glasses, your lenses, and to do that digitally is very, very powerful. And the FDA is really starting to think this is exciting. And so those digital, and it's overused, but digital transformation accelerants are of real interest to me in those 3 verticals that I mentioned.